So today I'm going to show you how to make white chocolate crème brûlées. Once you've mastered how to make crème brûlées, it's a very versatile dessert that gives you lots of opportunity to create great presentation on your plate. So let's go through the ingredients. We've got 8 eggs and we're going to use the egg yolks for the crème brûlées. Don't throw the whites away, we can use them for something else. We've got 75 grams of castor sugar. We've got 1 whole vanilla bean that we're going to scrape the seeds from. We've got 250 milliliters of whole milk. We're going to use the same quantity of double cream and 100 grams of white chocolate. So the first thing you need to do is preheat your oven to 120 degrees Celsius, that is approximately 248 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we are going to grate our 100 grams of white chocolate, and we want to use the largest part of the grater to get nice big pieces. So after grating all of the white chocolate, we're going to divide it between our 6 ramekins. So we just take a spoon and divide it as equal as we can. So you can see there's plenty of chocolate in each ramekin. So I've cut my vanilla bean in half with a nice sharp knife, and now we want to just take the knife and run it down the inside of the vanilla bean to get all of the vanilla seeds into my milk and cream mixture. So we'll do that again with the other half. We'll just take the knife down, and you might need to run the knife a few times to make sure you get all of the seeds out of the pod, and then put it into your milk and cream mixture. Make sure you take all the seeds that are off the board, and don't throw these pods away. I like to chop them up and then mix them with some castor sugar to create vanilla sugar. So next we're going to separate our 8 eggs. So just crack the shell and then very carefully move the egg yolk backwards and forwards between your 2 pieces of shell. Put the egg yolk in the bowl, and then we'll repeat. So now we're going to combine 75 grams castor sugar with our 8 egg yolks, and we need to give this a really good whisk until it starts to turn nice and pale. So you can see now that the egg yolks are starting to turn a little paler. They don't need to be whisked too long, otherwise you're putting too much air into your custard. But you do want to get them to about that state. So we've taken the combined milk and cream with the vanilla seeds in our non-stick saucepan over to the stove, and we just want to bring this up to a simmer. Once it starts simmering, we're just going to turn the heat off and remove it from the heat. So you can see now it's just about coming to a simmer around the edges, but we don't want it boiling hard. And that's it, that's good enough now, simmering. Slowly pouring our cream mixture into our egg yolks, and we want to whisk this really well. Now we're going to transfer our custard mixture to a clean saucepan. Just make sure we don't lose any. And then we want to cook our custard until it starts to thicken the back of your spoon. Now it's important when you're making any kind of a sauce on glaze that you use a heavy bottom pan, and that you keep stirring the bottom of the pan with your wooden spoon or your silicone spatula. Make sure that it's not starting to stick at the bottom of the pan, and you also want to cook this on a sort of medium heat, nothing more than about 6. You don't want it on too high, just keep stirring it. until it starts to coat the back of the spoon. Right at the moment the custard is still running off the spoon, but you want to keep stirring it and heating it until it's really coating the back of the spoon. So you can see now that the custard has started to really coat the back of the spoon. That's what you're looking for. You don't want to cook it too much, otherwise you'll end up with scrambled eggs. So at this point we're going to take it off the heat and strain our mixture. So now we're just pouring our egg mixture through a strainer just to make sure that it's nice and smooth. So now we want to carefully ladle our egg custard into our ramekins. Take your time, don't overfill the ladle, because you don't want to slop the egg mixture anywhere. You just want it all in the ramekins. Try to make sure that the ramekins are all equally filled. And make sure you use all your mixture. So now we're going to put our creme brulees into the oven, but before we do that we're going to put some boiling water into the roasting tray so they poach in the liquid. And we want to make sure that the water is about 3/4 of the way up the top of the ramekins. That should be enough there. Now of course you've got to be careful, because I've got boiling hot water in there now, so you need to probably take a couple of oven gloves or oven cloths to carefully transport the brulee mixture into the oven. The alternative is I could have put the tray in the oven and then poured the water onto the tray when it's already on the shelf in the oven. So our creme brulees have had between 45 and 50 minutes in the oven on the middle shelf. Now ovens do vary, so keep that in mind, but what you're looking for is when the creme brulee is cooked enough, it just has a little bit of jiggle left when you shake the ramekin. It shouldn't jiggle around too much, otherwise it needs a little more cooking. So we've taken the water out of the roasting tray. This will help to cool the brulees down, and you could also place the brulees into your fridge, but you do want to let it cool for at least 2 hours before you put the sugar on the top. So our white chocolate creme brulees have had 2 hours in the fridge. They're nice and chilled, ready for the sugar on. But I did want to say that you only want to put the sugar glaze on the top of creme brulees when you're ready to serve them. If you're not going to serve them right there and then you're much better off to leave them in the fridge without the sugar on, because they will keep a lot better. They will keep up to a week in your fridge without the sugar glaze on. So whenever you're making creme brulee, it's much better to get the burnt sugar on the top by using a blowtorch. I have two, because it's always a good idea for a chef to have a backup just in case. This particular one is filled from the bottom, and this uses lighter fuel, and I carry that around in my knife box. And this one is a canister. It's a mixture of butane and propane, and you can buy those canisters from your local hardware store. So I like to use Castor sugar rather than granulated sugar or brown sugar, and I like to make a nice thin crust. So I want enough sugar on there to do that, but not too much. I don't want it really deep. And after I've sprinkled the sugar, I want to wipe my thumb around the top of the ramekin just to wipe off any excess sugar. And then we'll get the gun and start melting our sugar. And it's good to keep turning the brulee around so the heat is not just in one place. Don't let your flame get too close to the top of the sugar, because you can always bring it in lower. But if you have it too close, you'll burn it before you caramelize it. So today we're going to serve our white chocolate creme brulees with sour cherry mixture that I've made, and you can find the recipe on my blog. We're also going to use these chocolate forms I've made by painting some dark chocolate onto acetate and then taping it shut with sellotape and then letting it set in a teardrop shape. And we're going to fill that with vanilla ice cream and then put pieces of Crunchie on the top. Because these are quite delicate, we need to put the ice cream in first before we unwrap them. So here we have our finished delicious dish. We've got our white chocolate creme brulee, we've got our sour cherries, we've got our chocolate shape filled with vanilla ice cream and topped with Crunchie. Enjoy.